I like to be an adventurer. Get on the train not knowing for sure where I'm going, pulling off at random exits on a road trip, going on solo hikes. But I also know my spaces of comfort, listening to music in my bed, sitting on the porch with a good book, going for a bike ride nearby. Those spaces of comfort keep me grounded for the adventures. They give me the energy and spirit to want to adventure, and I know I could not do one without the other. When making my move to Denver, I was looking forward to the adventuring, wanting to intentionally push myself away from the spaces of comfort so I couldn't get back to them even if I wanted to. I would be living in a new state, learning a new job, getting to know new housemates, all without the familiarity of the people, places, and things I called home in Chicago or Wisconsin. Once I started my job at Lutheran Family Services refugee and asylee programs, I think I was overwhelmed with the adventuring of it all in about a day. I couldn't remember all my coworkers' names, much less where their offices were. Language was a constant barrier when working with the clients, and I had no idea how to even begin helping a refugee who had only ever farmed in their home country find a job they would legitimately enjoy. I told myself it would get better, that I would figure it out, mostly because I had to. But I was yearning for a space of comfort, just one thing that would get me settled, let me retreat a little, and then go from there. About 3 weeks into my job, when I really didn't know if I could go back to the office for another full day from tiredness of the adventure, I had my first afternoon at Hinckley High School in Aurora. Tutoring is one of my spaces of comfort. Having tutored at so many schools with so many kids, it's a space I know I can be me, and do my best to create a space where the kids can do the same. As I sat in the library waiting for school to let out and our refugee kids to come for tutoring, I was looking forward to stepping back into that space of comfort. But when Ayen, a curvy, shy Somali girl, wearing a headscarf and covered from wrists to ankles, was the first one to come, I knew this would be different. I knew she was a refugee, like all the kids we worked with. I knew she needed some kind of help on homework, or why else would she have come? But that was about it. I struggled to relate to her, to know what kind of questions I could ask to engage in conversation, to explain not only the math we were working on, but all of the English inherent in math that teachers and textbooks just assume students will understand. It was not the space of comfort I had been yearning for, to say the least. About 10 kids came to tutoring that day, and it seemed like they were swirling around me the entire hour and a half, and I couldn't jump in. Something was stopping me. I didn't want to put myself into another adventure, the adventure of getting to know the experiences and stories of refugee kids, figuring out how to enter into companionship with them when our realities were so vastly different. I just wanted the ease and comfort of some straightforward tutoring. But that's just not what these kids were offering me. Instead, they were coming from and into an adventure all their own, one they had been unwillingly thrown into. Having to leave or never having known their home country for fear of violence or persecution or war or lack of the fundamental necessities of food and water and shelter. Living in refugee camps for 5, 10, 15 years. Just trying to live life day to day. Just trying to be a kid. And then, when comfort was the light at the end of a long, dangerous, incomprehensible tunnel of humans treating one another with no humanity, they are thrown into adventure again, into a world of baffling English and unknown societal norms, and an apartment that can't even begin to resemble their Somali or Nepali or Burmese or Congolese home. The blatant realization that they must have been yearning for comfort infinitely more than I was. As tutoring continued from day to day and week to week, a contingent of Somali girls became the most faithful attendees. Ayen, Nadifo, Asiya, Dunya, Flastine. Our interactions were awkward and halting to begin with, as our adventures were becoming intertwined, inextricably brought up into one another. And it wasn't a particular assignment or conversation or day, but with each of their visits to the library, as I would watch their lazy strolls back to the table and listen to their Somali chatter, our familiarity grew, our conversations flowed, both in English and Somali, and our relationships evolved. We together began to create our own little place of comfort in the midst of our adventures, me for them and them for me. Ayen, Nadifo, Asiya, Dunya, Flastine. Each with their own understanding of English, sense of hijab fashion, strengths in academics, levels of outgoingness, each with their own beauty. Ayen with her fiery quick tongue, Nadifo with her sharing spirit, Asiya with her devoted heart, Dunya with her questioning mind, and Flastine with her gentle nature. These girls became my place of comfort, one that will give me so much spirit moving into my next adventure.